Good. So, welcome. So I'm really grateful to have a 2-year-old today. If you're not in the Kingston area, or if you're watching this later, it's May 9th, and we have snow on the ground. And I was feeling maybe not so great about this series of events starting yesterday with a snowstorm. But of course, when my son woke up this morning, he ran to the window and he was like, "Snow!" It was the most exciting thing, and he wanted to go outside right away. So it's a good reminder that there's always a number of perspectives to a situation, and there's a possibility for each of us to find some kind of joy or gratitude for that different perspective that we might not have immediately chosen for ourselves. Which is not to say that the other perspectives aren't valid. Like, we can still feel maybe if we're farmers, or if we have fruit trees or plants that we care about outside, we can feel a bit of pain about the damage or the problem that the snow might cause. Or if we just feel like we're ready for spring or summer even, we can feel that emotion too. But being able to see all of the different perspectives gives us an opportunity for a little bit more equilibrium. We don't have to feel just one thing, but we can see that there's a range of choices and a range of ways of seeing. And maybe it helps us to feel empathy too, which can be really important to see what other people might feel. And the yoga practice, I think, is always a similar way of trying to find all of the different perspectives that are available. So when we're looking at our bodies or we're looking at a pose, what we might first see is something negative, or we might first feel like, I can't do this shape, or it doesn't feel good. But if we allow ourselves to sort of broaden the perspective, we can see maybe that we have the opportunity to just be on our mats in our bodies. That's something that we could feel grateful for. Or we can see that we can do parts of the pose even if we can't do the whole pose, or we can't do some elements of the pose. So we get to start to just take a step back and draw away from that one point that we're fixed on. And that can be quite helpful in knowing our bodies and being at home in our bodies. So we'll start today in a seated shape, cross-legged or whatever you like for yourself. You can bring your hands onto your knees or into your lap, and closing your eyes, sitting up nice and tall. Just let the shoulders settle away from your ears, and taking a few slow, steady breaths here, beginning to focus all of your attention on that breathing. You might immediately start to cultivate your Ujjayi breath if that's part of your practice. So you can feel the breath in the nose, in the throat, especially at the back of the throat. You can feel the swell of the breath in the whole space of the rib cage, so front of the chest, but also sides and backs of the ribs. You feel the impact of the breath in your belly, in your deeper pelvis. And then as you're exhaling, starting to draw the low belly in and up, so we can activate the core and gently remind ourselves of stability and the warmth that we're able to create in the center. Every time you're inhaling, maybe getting a little bit taller. And then each time you're exhaling, feeling that softening around the edges, the face, the shoulders relaxing, but again, that sense of stability, maybe of heat at your center body. So even just the act of breathing in this conscious way can allow us to create a sense of illumination or light or warmth in the body. Just taking a few more steady, slow breaths here. And we might use the breath just like a little flashlight to start to see more clearly how we are, how we feel, what the range of viewpoints are. And then from here, just bringing your hands to the tops of your thighs with the palms facing down. And start to roll the shoulders. So inhale to bring the shoulders forward and up towards the ears. And then exhale to draw the shoulders down and back. And inhaling and the shoulders come forward and up. Exhaling down and back. And just keep going a few more times, your own smooth rhythm of breathing. Really feel as you inhale this widening of the upper back. And as you're exhaling, a broadening across the chest. And just making the movements as smooth as possible. So we can feel how the arm bone circles through the shoulder socket, but we can also really feel how the shoulder blades and the collarbones might glide across the torso as we change the shape of the shoulders. Let's see if we can make that glide feel more easeful, more smooth. Yeah, and then we'll change directions. You can bring the palms to face up, and then as you inhale, taking your shoulders back and up towards your ears, exhaling to melt the shoulders forward and down. And inhale, nice wide space across the chest, the collarbones spreading apart. As you're exhaling, the upper back broadening as the shoulder blades move outwards. And just following your own smooth rhythm of breathing, continuing through this circling. And then from here, we'll inhale to reach the arms up alongside the ears, nice tall stretch. And exhale, turning to the right, bringing your left hand to your right knee and your right hand behind you. Inhale to grow up a little bit taller. As you exhale, draw in through the low belly, turning more to the right. We'll stay here. Inhale, see if you can lengthen the spine even more. Exhale, drawing in through the low belly, deeper twist. And one more time, inhaling to grow up tall through the length of your spine. And then as you exhale, hugging in through the belly, using that strength in your core to turn the ribs more towards the right. We'll come back to center. Inhale, the arms reaching up alongside the ears, the shoulders stay relaxed. Exhaling to the left. Inhale here to grow tall up through the spine, up through the crown of the head. Exhale, hugging in through the low belly, turning more to the left. Again, inhale to find that length in your torso, lifting the rib cage. Exhale, turning the rib cage more to the left. And one more time, following the guidance of your breath, inhaling to grow taller, and exhaling into that twist. Coming back to center. Well, inhale just to reach the arms up one more time, nice tall stretch, and then exhale to draw your hands down towards the floor. We're gonna uncross the legs. You can bring the right leg out a little bit off to the right, and bring your left heel in towards the groin or in towards the upper right thigh. So nice wide angle in the legs, and your torso is still straight forward in the direction of your hips. We're gonna grow up nice and tall through the ribs, reach your arms up as you inhale, and then exhaling to fold straight forward. So we're folding really to the inside of that right leg, and just taking a few steady breaths here. And this is probably your first intentional forward fold of the day, so you can be really gentle with yourself, especially if we're feeling a little bit of that cold in our bones. And just giving yourself some time to move your breath through your body so that we can loosen up anything that feels a little bit too snug this morning. Finding some space in the back of your right leg, finding lots of space in your low spine, so you can really breathe into the low back. So we're stretching the ribs away from the hips as we inhale, exhaling to scoop the belly in. Maybe you can fold a little bit more, and really making sure you're moving towards the inside of that right leg. And then we'll inhale to come slowly back up, and just switching sides. You can take the left leg out a little bit off to the left, right foot in towards the groin or the upper left thigh. Find the front edge of your sits bones. Again, keeping your hips, your torso in that square alignment. We'll inhale to reach the arms up, and then exhaling to fold straight forward. So we're really to the inside of the left leg. It's a different set of sensations than we would get by folding directly over the leg. So spine is in neutral. You can really breathe into the space of the low back. You can feel that that left leg is moving off to the left side. So maybe there's some extra sensation of stretch in the inner line of your left leg, as well as the back of the leg. And growing longer in the spine with each breath in. Finding again that scooping quality in the low belly as you exhale, which helps us to hinge at the hips a little bit more. And just another couple steady breaths here. And being gentle with yourself, so we don't need to go too deep right away. And then we'll slowly walk the hands back in. Crossing the ankles once more, you can find your way to all fours, setting the knees under the hips, the wrists under the shoulders, fingers spread comfortably wide apart. You can shift more weight into the finger pads, really leaning into the fronts of your hands. Take some of the weight out of the wrist. Make sure the inner edge of your hand is rooted. And then move through a few rounds of cat and cow as you're inhaling or lengthening the belly, lifting the sits bones, lifting the chest. Exhaling to round the back, hugging the belly in, letting the head drop down heavy. Inhale again to lengthen out through the belly. So you can kind of drag your hands against the mat towards you to pull your heart forward. Exhaling to round, pushing the mat away from you so you really balloon through the whole space of the back. Just a few more times. Again, your own smooth rhythm of breathing. Using this opportunity to explore, to discover how your spine feels. And again, all of the possible perspectives. So we might first feel like what we're seeing is that the spine is stiff or that there's an immobility somewhere in the spine. But if we can broaden our perspective, we can see that even if we think we have a stiff spine, the spine is such an amazing thing. There's so much room for movement in the spine, and the shape of the spine allows us to do all of the things that we do that make us human. So there's just so much possibility for moving through your spine and using the breath to alleviate or create spaciousness in some of the areas that feel a little bit tense. Good. We'll inhale to come back to a neutral shape in the spine. Bringing your right arm forward alongside your right ear, take your left leg back parallel to the floor. See if you can find some lift through the inner line of your left thigh. Really nice long reach here away from center, so forward through the fingers, back through the ball of that left foot. As you exhale, we're rounding into center, the elbow, the knee coming towards each other. Inhale to reach out nice and long, big full stretch. Exhaling to curl in, so you can really push down through that left hand to create stability in the left shoulder. Inhale, again, long reach out away from center. As you're exhaling, you're scooping in through the low belly to help hug that left thigh close into the body. Inhale, again, nice full reach out. Exhale to curl back in, a little package out of your torso. And then one more time, blossoming into that long line as you inhale. It'll exhale to bring the right hand down. Keep your left leg straight. Place the left foot to the floor. We'll angle the heel down so the whole sole of the foot can root. And then taking your left arm up to the ceiling and reaching into a side plank variation. You can find more stability here by letting that lower right leg swing back a little bit if you need to. Keep pressing down through your right hand, grabbing the floor with your right finger pads for a little bit more support. Rolling your left side ribs open, and then we'll take the left arm forward alongside the left ear, breathing into the space of the left side body. Nice full stretch out through the left side ribs, the left side waist. But hugging in through the belly, keep that right hand really rooting into the floor. We'll slowly see if we can pick up the left leg, bring the left leg up parallel to the mat. So reaching back through the ball of the left foot, reaching forward through your left fingers, again stretching out that long line. Finding support here by continuing to connect your right finger pads to the floor, by hugging the belly in, and by keeping that left leg really strong. And feel like you want to push the left leg down towards the floor, but don't let it move. So the inner line of the leg becomes active. Good, then we'll exhale to bring the left foot back down, rooting the left foot, pressing down now through your left foot and your right hand. See if you can pick up your right knee and your right foot. Maybe you can place them to the inside of the left leg. Maybe you like to reach the right leg out towards the left, keeping it hovering above the floor. Again, the hips high, the left side body long. And then we'll exhale to bring that right knee down, left hand down, coming into a plank shape. As you're inhaling, step the right foot back to meet the left. And taking a moment here, again, seeing if you can lean weight into the finger pads. Your shoulders come forward over your wrists, maybe as far as you're able. So you might really find that you can even reach your shoulders like over the line of your fingers. And then as you're exhaling, beginning to lower your way down, you can bring your knees down first or come down one straight line. And We'll inhale into a Cobra or an upward dog if you can't lie on your belly. And exhaling to take the hips up and back, moving into a downward dog. And I'm just taking a few moments to get comfy in this downward dog. Just walking the dog if you like, or looking for any other movements that help you to ease in. My mom asked me this morning if the classes were gonna get easier because I'm getting more pregnant. And I said, I hope not. I'm just trying to find like more workarounds so that we can do all of the hard stuff that's still possible with a belly. So I hope that you don't get bored today. That's my primary goal. And then we'll exhale to bring the knees back down towards the floor, arriving again in a all fours shape. And then we're gonna reach the left arm forward alongside the left ear and take the right leg back parallel to the floor. And see if you can find again that really long stretch out away from center, forward through the fingers, back through the ball of the right foot. As you're exhaling, rounding into center, elbow knee towards each other. Inhale, nice long stretch out away from center. Exhaling to hug in and really pushing down through the right hand. Feel that right shoulder puff up for stability in the back. Inhale, nice long stretch out. Exhaling to curl in, low belly drawing in the right thigh, hugging towards you. Inhale, reaching out, nice long line. Exhale to curl in. You can imagine like a little seed out of your body. And then as you inhale, breaking out of that seed to find a long, strong plant. And then as you exhale, bring the left hand down, the right foot down. Again, we'll root the sole of the foot, reaching the right arm up to the ceiling. Nice wide stretch across the chest. You might first let that lower left leg swing back a little bit if you need help with the balance. Roll the right side ribs open. Maybe taking your right arm here now forward alongside the right ear, so finding more of that space in your right side body, breathing into the right side ribs. Keep rooting down through your left hand, keep squeezing the floor with the left finger pads. Keep the belly drawing in, and we'll slowly start to float the right leg up away from the floor. And seeing if you can find sort of parallel line between your right leg and the ground. And making sure the leg is strong, so inner line of your right leg active, really reaching back through the ball of your right foot. Know where your middle is by finding that hug towards the belly, the low belly. And then pressing down through the left hand and keeping the fingers in contact with your mat for another little set of 5 roots there. Good, and then we'll place the right foot back down to the floor, root the right foot, press down through your left hand. Now you can pick up your left knee, your left foot, maybe finding this kind of sideways tree shape, or reaching the left leg out to the right, keeping the leg hovering, keeping the hips high, really strong reach out through your right side body. Good, and then we'll exhale to bring the left knee, right hand back to the floor, tucking your right toes under, inhaling to step back to plank. Again, take a moment here, see if you can really push the mat away from you. So the upper back is almost round. Like feel the shoulder blades really wide on the back. And then moving through your own flow to get to downward dog. So lowering whatever way down you like. Inhaling Cobra or upward dog. Exhaling to take the hips up and back, downward dog. If you want none of those options, do whatever path serves you best. It's really up to you to create your own adventure anytime we come to a Vinyasa. And then from here, we'll slowly walk the feet forward, arriving at a comfortable forward fold. Your knees can be as bent as you like. Comfortable is always relative for some people. Any kind of a forward fold isn't really ever that comfortable. So maybe just seeing if you can find a way to make it more comfortable from whatever your baseline is. So if that means more bend in the knees, then do that. If it means really consciously letting go of your head, so relaxing the neck, relaxing the face, then do that. Maybe you like to bring your hands to your opposite elbows. Maybe you like to sway a little bit side to side or shake out the head. A little bit of yes, a little bit of no. And then we'll exhale, let the hands settle back towards the floor. Keep the knees soft. We'll slowly start to inhale up towards a stance or pressing down through the feet. As you're coming up, beginning to straighten the legs, tailbone reaching down, belly hugging in, lift the ribs, spread your shoulders out really wide, grow tall through the crown of the head. Next inhale, reaching the arms up, big full stretch. Exhaling to fold, taking your hands towards the floor. Inhaling halfway up, reaching your ribs forward. Exhaling to settle back down, head nice and heavy. And pressing into the feet, find that long spine, so kind of a half lift, and then keep coming up, arms reach all the way back up to the ceiling, nice full stretch. Exhaling the hands to the center of the chest. We'll inhale again to reach the arms up, stretching tall. Exhaling to bring the hands towards the floor. Inhale to bring your ribs forward, long spine, long belly. Exhaling to settle back down, let the head go. Pressing into the feet, inhale all the way back up. Tall reach, shoulders stay soft. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest. And once more, inhaling, the arms reaching up, stretching really tall. Exhaling to fold, hands towards the floor. Inhaling halfway up, the ribs reaching forward. Exhaling to settle back down, feeling the hug in the low belly to help you really crease at the hips. Good, inhaling to grow all the way back up, tall reach. Exhaling the hands to the center of the chest. And we'll inhale to reach the arms back up, nice full stretch. Exhaling to fold, taking the hands towards the floor. Inhaling halfway up, reaching your ribs forward. Exhale, softening, stepping the right foot back. We'll inhale here to come up to a high lunge, reaching the arms up nice and tall. Letting your shoulders and your hips sink low. Maybe start with a little bit of bend in your right knee and see if you can draw your torso back away from your left thigh. So really centering your torso over your hips, and then try and keep the belly lifting away from the left thigh as you straighten out that right leg again. So we might get a little bit more tug in the right hip crease. Holding your balance here by first making sure that your stance is wide enough. So a good base of support. And then by really hugging towards the midline, so with the legs, with the feet, with the belly, everything drawing towards your center. So again, you know where your center is. Another big full inhale here. And then we'll exhale to bring the hands back down to the floor, pressing the mat away from you. Take a step back to plank. And again, moving with your own breathing, finding your own path to downward dog. With your next inhale, reaching your right leg up and back. And then bending the knee and opening the right hip. So see if you can really stack your right hip over your left. From here, we're gonna make circles with the leg, and we really wanna keep this downward dog shape. We're just gonna be moving that right leg, so not bringing your shoulders forward. As you exhale, you might scoop the right thigh in towards your belly, and then we're inhaling to bring the right knee out to the right, up and opens, finding that open hip shape. Exhale again, circling downwards. Inhaling to come upwards and opening the hips. So just a couple more rounds, your own breath. And really feeling the work of your arms to hold the downward dog shape. So really pressing your hips up high and just seeing if we can grease that joint a little bit in the right hip. So really exploring the full range of motion around the right hip socket as you move your right leg. And then we'll switch directions. So as you're inhaling now, go up, open the hips, exhale to bring the knee out to the side and around towards the chest. Again, a few more times with your own breath, and you can feel that we're loosening up through the hip, but we're still building up strength in the upper body by holding this downward dog shape, by really sending the hips up high. Maybe there's some room for stretching through the back of your left leg. Good. With your next exhale, we'll pull the knee into the chest. Now bringing your shoulders forward, step your right foot towards your hands, and then we'll inhale to come up into a high lunge. Again, letting the shoulders and the hips settle. Maybe starting with that little bit of bend in your left knee to see if that helps you to draw the torso back, and then keep the torso back centered over your hips, lengthening out the left leg just as much as you're able. Maybe it doesn't lengthen out completely, so we get some space in the left hip crease. Nice tall lift up through your ribs, shoulders still soft away from your ears. And again, know where your center is. Feel all of that hugging towards the midline, especially through the inner lines of your thighs. Good, we'll exhale to bring the hands back down towards the floor, stepping your left foot forward to meet the right. Inhale to come halfway up. Exhale to sink back down. Pressing into the feet, inhaling to come all the way up, arms reaching tall. And exhaling the hands to the center of the chest. Inhale to sweep the arms back up, good full stretch. Exhale, folding forward, taking the hands towards the floor. Inhale, halfway up, the ribs forward. Exhale, softening down, stepping your left foot back. Again, make sure you have a wide enough stance, so something more like railroad tracks in the width between your feet. And then we'll inhale to come up again to the high lunge. This time, as you're exhaling, bring your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. Inhale to lift the center of your chest, and then exhale, start to fold towards the inside of your right leg. And you might find that stepping your left foot more to the left is helpful. It's a really wide enough space between the feet, widthwise on your mat. And then see if you can squeeze the inner lines of the legs back towards center. So again, we really hold the midline as we let ourselves sink down here. And then maybe you can also allow your shoulders to open by letting the arms drift away from your back. We let the head start to drop heavy. Think about allowing the crown of your head to sink down towards the floor. You'll notice that as you change your gaze to look back behind you, you need to do more work with the legs so as not to lose your balance. And if we lose the balance, then we don't worry too much about it. We just find our way back in and start all over. Good, pressing down through the feet, keeping that hug through the inner line of the legs as you move. We'll grow all the way back up, reach the arms up tall, and then exhaling, the hands come down to the floor, stepping back to plank, traveling again with your own breath to downward dog. Inhale to reach the left leg up and back. Exhaling to bend the knee and open the hip. And then again, staying in this downward dog shape. So really strong with your arms, pressing your hips up high. As you exhale, we'll draw that left knee down towards the belly. And then inhale to sweep it out and up, opening the hips. Exhaling into circle, in towards the belly. And then out and up on the inhale. So just keep going, your own breath. Maybe noticing as you travel through a few rounds that you're able to widen the circles as the hip joint becomes more mobile, more comfortable. If we notice anything that feels a little bit sticky, maybe we go especially slowly through that area. Good. And then we'll change direction. So the inhale takes the knee up, opening the hips. And then as you exhale, bring the knee out to the side, in towards the belly. And just keep going a few rounds in that direction. And paying attention to the placement of your hands, keeping those arms strong, hips up high, knees long back. Maybe some room for finding space in the back of your right leg here. Good. And then with your next exhale, you can bring the knee into the chest, stepping the left foot forward, and finding your way again up to your high lunge. Again, a wide stance widthwise on your mat here. We'll exhale to bring the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. Inhale to lift the chest, and then exhale, moving slowly, starting to find your way towards the inside of your left leg. And then again, moving slowly is key here so that we can allow the muscles to adjust for stability as we settle into each new stage of this shape. We want to see if we can let the crown of the head start to drop towards the floor, the back of the neck gets long, the arms sink away from your back. So stretching into the shoulders and really working with the legs, feeling that hug towards the midline so strongly so that the legs tell you where center is, and therefore the upper body has more permission to relax. And then keep that strong hug through the midline of the legs. We'll inhale to come all the way back up. Arms reaching up for the ceiling, nice tall stretch. Exhaling the hands to the floor, stepping your right foot forward to meet the left. Inhale halfway up. Exhaling to sink back down. Pressing into the feet. Inhaling to come all the way up, arms reaching tall. And exhaling the hands to the center of the chest. Inhaling again to reach the arms up tall, full stretch. Exhaling to bring the hands to the floor. Inhaling halfway up, the ribs reaching forward. Exhaling to plant your hands. We'll step or hop back to plank. Again, finding your own path to downward dog. I think maybe I can actually turn the heat off now. From downward dog, we'll inhale to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale, hugging the knee into the chest. You can step your right foot forward towards your hands. We'll bring the left foot flat to the floor. Inhaling to come up to warrior one. Good. I'm just taking a few breaths here in this shape, seeing if we can roughly square the hips. So we feel that left thigh spiraling forward as the right hip draws back. We let the hips settle low, and draw in through the low belly, grow the ribs tall away from the hips. Maybe helps us get into the space of the left hip crease. And then we'll exhale to settle into warrior two. You can adjust the feet as you need to. Maybe more of a heel to heel or heel to arch alignment. Seeing if you can hug your right hip in towards center, or kind of feel how the right thigh bone rolls outwards in the hip socket. And sit the hips maybe a little bit lower, and then grow the ribs up tall. And then we'll straighten the right leg with an inhale, reaching your right arm as far forward as you're able. Exhale to bring the right arm down, left arm up, moving into triangle pose. Sending your hips back, reaching your ribs forward, finding the length in the sides of the waist. Rolling your left side ribs open, so there's maybe a little bit of a feeling of a twist here. And some lengthening out through the inner line of your right leg. And even as we're finding senses of stretch in the legs, we're still also looking for stability or strength. Maybe that hug towards the center line can still be helpful here. So feeling of drawing your heels towards each other to activate the inner lines of the legs, help us find sensation in the pelvic floor. So stretch and stability don't have to be, and often shouldn't be, mutually exclusive. Then we'll inhale to come slowly back up. Exhaling to bend the right knee, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, the right side body long. And we'll exhale to windmill the hands down to the floor. You can tuck your left toes under and bring the right foot just a little bit behind your hands, maybe like a foot's width behind the hands. We'll turn the right toes out to the right. And then from here, rooting the outer edge of your left foot, and reach your right arm up to the ceiling. So you're gonna side plank variation, keep the hips up nice and high, and reach your right arm forward alongside your right ear, breathing into the right side body. And then we'll exhale to place the right hand back down to the floor, stepping back to plank, moving with your breath to find downward dog. Then with an inhaling, reach the left leg up and back. Exhale, hugging the knee into the chest, step the left foot forward, placing the right foot flat to the floor. Inhaling to come up, warrior one. And taking a few steady breaths here, finding that square shape in your hips so that we can just gently spiral the right thigh forward and then lift the belly away from the left thigh so there's space in the right hip crease. The ribs growing tall, shoulders still relaxed. And exhaling into warrior two, the arms out shoulder height, sitting the hips nice and low, really feeling how that left thigh bone just gently rolls outwards in the hip socket. I'm gonna wrap your left hip under your body as you lift the ribs up tall. And then straightening the left leg. Inhale to reach your left arm forward, so nice crease at the hip. And then we'll bring the left arm up, the left arm down, the right arm up for a triangle pose. And drawing your hips back and really lengthening out through your torso, seeing where you can find more space in this shape. So think about where you might feel that there's kind of like a fold in your clothing around the torso, if you can unfold those areas. Still though, a deep crease at your left hip, so that one fold is quite intentional. And then noticing once more how you might use your legs here. So really heels hugging in, some sense of strength in the legs, in addition to feeling the stretches and the openings. Good, we'll press down through the feet, inhale to come back up. Exhaling to bend the left knee, warrior two. Inhaling to reverse the left side body long. Exhale again to windmill, hands down to the floor, stepping back to plank. Again, your path to downward dog. Didn't manage to turn the heat off, so we'll try that one more time. And at the end of your next exhale, you can bend your knees, looking forward, stepping your feet or hopping your feet up towards your hands. Inhale to come halfway up. Exhale, softening back down. Pressing into the feet, inhaling all the way up, nice tall reach up through the arms. Exhaling, hands to the center of the chest. And bending the knees, sit the hips low. Inhale, the arms sweeping up alongside your ears. Exhale, folding, taking your hands towards the floor as the legs begin to straighten. Inhale to reach the ribs forward. Exhale, planting the hands, leaning weight into the hands as you step or hop back. And again, finding your path to downward dog. And if you're noticing that you're getting a little bit tired, choose an easier route so that you can be intentional about your movements, so that each movement makes sense for your body and is in alignment with your breath. And we'll inhale again to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest, step the right foot forward. Bringing your left foot flat to the floor, we'll inhale up to warrior one. And exhaling to settle into warrior two, arms out, shoulder height. And inhaling to reverse warrior, sweeping your right arm back. Exhale, taking the right forearm to your right thigh, or maybe your right hand down to the floor, inside of your right leg, and we'll reach the left arm forward alongside the left ear. Good bend in the right knee. Again, see if you can wrap that right hip in towards the midline, and now really roll your left side ribs open and find a long stretch out through the left side body. And just taking a few steady breaths here, and letting the hips settle. Good crease at the right hip, good bend at the right knee. And then still with those intentional creases, seeing if there's other areas in the torso where you can unfold, where you can stretch out a little bit more or invite the breath in more fully. Yeah. Pressing into the feet, we'll inhale to come back to reverse warrior, a long space in your right side. Exhaling to windmill your hands down to the inside of your right foot. We'll wiggle the right foot out to the right and tuck the left toes under. And then from here, walking your hands forward as far as you can reach. Press the hands into the floor and send your left heel back. If you need to modify by bringing your left knee down to the floor here, that's of course an option. Really breathe fully into the back body. As you're exhaling, let the hips settle and see if you can squeeze that right thigh close into your right side body. So there's, again, this sense of hug through the inner line of the leg, connection to the midline of the body. You know, again, where your center is. And knowing where your center is gives us more permission to soften in other areas, to really let the hips sink lower, to find more stability in that softness. Good. And then we'll walk the hands in towards the inside of the right foot. Again, stepping your right foot just a little bit behind your hands. We'll turn the right toes out, settle to the outer edge of your left foot, reaching your right arm up to the ceiling, taking your right arm forward alongside your right ear. Nice long stretch into the right side body. Maybe you're on the ball of your right foot now, so a little bit less weight in that right foot. Lifting the hips up high. And then exhaling the right hand down, stepping back to plank, your path to downward dog. Inhale to reach the left leg up and back. Exhale, knee to the chest, stepping the left foot towards the hands. Right foot flat to the floor. Inhale, warrior one, arms sweeping up alongside the ears. Exhaling to settle into warrior two, arms out, shoulder height. Inhaling to reverse warrior, the left side body long. Exhaling, the left forearm to the left thigh or left hand down to the inside of the left foot. Right arm alongside your right ear. Bending your left knee as much as you're comfortably able to. Making sure the knee, the left toes are pointing in the same direction and as straightforward as possible. And then we still hug that left hip in without changing the direction of the knee. So see if you can kind of line your left thigh bone up parallel to the long edge of your mat. Rolling your right side ribs open. It's a little bit of a sensation of the twist. And then again, pressing into the feet, inhaling to reverse the left side body long. Exhaling to windmill the hands down to the inside of your left foot, tucking your right toes under. Left foot wiggles out to the left. We'll walk the hands forward, pressing your hands forward and down into the floor, sending that right heel back. Again, right knee to the floor is also a good option. Let the hips sink, but keep that left knee hugging in towards your left side body. So maybe you can feel the contact between your left knee and your left shoulder or your left side. And that little bit of structure allows us to be softer within the stable shape. Good, we'll walk the hands back in towards the inside of the foot, and then just wiggle that left foot back a step behind your hands. Turn your left toes out to the left, right outer edge of the foot settling down to the floor. The left arm reaches up, and then the left arm reaches forward. Press down through your right hand to lift the hips up high. And maybe you're kind of on the ball of your left foot now, so less weight in that left foot. A little bit more lightness through the left thigh by hugging it in towards the low belly and connecting to your center. And then we'll exhale to bring the left hand down, stepping back to plank. Again, your path to downward dog, however you like to get there. And then we'll just do one more round here. So we'll inhale to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale the knee into the chest, stepping the right foot forward. Left foot flat to the floor. Inhale, the arms sweep up, warrior one. Exhaling into warrior two, arms out shoulder height. And inhaling to reverse warrior, the right arm sweeping back. Exhaling, forearm to thigh or right hand down to the floor. Reach your left arm straight up to the ceiling here. Just see if you can find that twisting shape by rolling your left side ribs open a little bit. And then we're gonna see if we can move towards the bind. So sinking your right shoulder as deeply as you're able towards the inside of the right thigh, bringing the left hand behind the back, and then looping your right arm around underneath your right thigh, and just finding whatever you can find to hold on to. Maybe it's even just two pieces of your clothing. Wrapping your right hip in towards the midline, rolling the left side body open, stretching the belly long. Make as much space in this shape as you can. And if you're finding that the perspective that you're choosing right now is difficult, then look for a different viewpoint. How can we look at this shape in a way that's helpful, in a way that allows us to learn something or to change in a way that's useful, or to explore our breath in the way that's useful? Good. And then we'll slowly release. Hands down towards the inside of your right foot. Wiggle your right foot to the right, tuck your left toes under. We're again gonna sink the body low towards the inside of the right leg. And take your right hand to the back of your right calf for a moment. See if you can get your shoulder kind of under the right knee or under the right thigh, just as much as you're able. It's all relative. Hips high to start is more helpful. Really find that squeeze between the center line of the legs. Reach your right arm out to the right. Keep squeezing the legs to center. Reach your left arm out to the left. Maybe even just for a moment, seeing if you can fly those arms out like little wings. Good. And then we'll bring the hands back to the floor. Stepping the right foot just a little bit back behind your hands. Turn the right toes out. Rolling onto the outer edge of your left foot, right arm reaching up into this side plank variation. Again, we can take the right arm forward alongside the right ear. Either just stay as you are here, or maybe experimenting now with stepping that right foot back, maybe a few baby steps at a time, or one step back into the side plank with your right foot in front or on top of the left. And again, the hips up really nice and high. And we'll exhale to bring the right hand down to the floor, coming into plank. Traveling with your breath to downward dog. Good. And then just the left side. Inhale to reach the left leg up and back. Exhale, knee into the chest, stepping the left foot forward, right foot flat to the floor. Inhaling to bring the arms up alongside the ears. Exhaling into warrior two, arms out shoulder height. Inhaling, reverse warrior, the left arm sweeping back. Exhaling, the left forearm to the left thigh or hand to the floor. Just reaching the right arm straight up this time. Seeing if you can lean that right shoulder back to really turn the heart open. And then letting that left shoulder snuggle towards the inside of your left thigh. So sink your left shoulder as deeply as you're able to the inside of your left leg. Right hand down behind the back. Left arm reaching around, seeing whatever it is you can find to hang on to. And then still letting the hips sink, still bending into that left knee, stretching out the torso as long as you're able. Reaching the front ribs away from your pubic bone to lengthen out the belly. And
And then we'll exhale to bring the hands down again to the inside of the left foot. And take the left foot out to the left, tuck your right toes under. Sinking the torso a little bit more deeply. Left hand to the back of your left calf. And see if you can just get the left shoulder as much as you're able towards the back of the left knee. And whatever you find as contact there, whatever part of the arm and the leg are touching, see if you can really push them into each other. So again, holding a sense of a midline between your arm and your leg. We'll reach the left arm out to the left, and then send the right arm out to the right, and maybe even just for a moment here, trying to find little wings taking off for flight. And then we'll bring the hands back to the floor, rooting the hands, stepping that left foot a little bit back behind your hands. Left toes turn out to the left. Outer edge of the right foot settles. Reach your left arm up, reach your left arm forward, and then either staying as you are here or stepping that left foot back as many steps as you need on top of or in front of your right foot for the full side plank. Hips up high. And then exhale, left hand down to the floor. Finding your way once more to plank, and once more from there to downward dog, however you like to get there. Good. And then we'll exhale to bring the knees down to the mat for a moment, just settling into child's pose so we can give the arms, the shoulders a little bit of a rest. You could keep your arms reaching forward or reach them back by your sides, whatever you like here. And breathing into the swell of the back body. As you're exhaling, really melting into that crease of your hips, the crease of the knees. So feeling your weight drop down, hips sinking low into the heels. If you're feeling any sensation of tension in the wrist or overuse in the wrist, you might just make fists with your hands and then spread them out, make fists, spread them out. So just do that a few times to release any sense of buildup in the wrists. Good. And then you can come up to seated on your heels. Maybe just have a little look for a moment. I'd like to try the first variation that we might do for a pose that's called Visvamitrasana. Some of you might have encountered this in class with me before, but some of you might not have. And when I was talking to Roland about this morning, he was like, you can't teach that online, it's way too complicated. But I'm gonna do it anyway, because we might be online for a while, who knows, and that shouldn't stop us from just going on as we usually would and exploring things. And it's actually probably more comfortable to get tied up in a pretzel at home and not have anybody around you to notice that you're doing it. So maybe you feel more free to make a mistake in this shape. So we're setting the right foot towards the outside of the right hand. I'm going to swing the lower left leg back parallel to the short edge of my mat. I'm sinking the right shoulder as much as possible to the inside of my right leg, and then I'm setting the right hand to the outside of the right foot. From here, it's kind of like a forklift, like if I push down through the hands, I could pick up the right leg. Most importantly, I need to squeeze the right thigh close into the body. If I don't, it just falls away and we lose the stability of the pose. So pushing down with the hands and really squeezing the right thigh close in. So that would be step one. From there, I'm just going to keep the right hand down. I'm going to take the left hand over the top of the right foot and reach for the outside of the right foot. Now I'm just pressing down with that right hand to pick up the right leg. And then from here, I really slowly see if I can start to straighten out the leg, hugging the right thigh towards the right arm as I do so. And once I get to my edge there, which might happen very quickly, then I see if I can start to roll the left side ribs open to find a little bit more of that twisting shape. So right leg as long as possible, and then we need lots of space in the shoulders and the spine to open up the heart. Good. So it doesn't have to be graceful, especially if it's a new thing for you. We can just see what we can do. So we'll start from all fours. You can step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Swing that lower left leg back so it's parallel to the short edge of your mat. Sink your hips nice and low. Sink your shoulders nice and low. See if you can snuggle that right shoulder in towards the back of your right leg. Bring your right hand to the outside of your right foot. Reach your left hand over the top of your right foot to find the outside of your right foot. And then we're pushing down with the right hand to pick up the right leg. And then from there, we see if we can start to straighten out the leg, roll the heart open, and just find a few breaths of unfolding here. And again, the perspective we take is so important in how much we find enjoyment in wherever it is we land. So just notice how you're looking at yourself, and if that way of looking at yourself is the most helpful way to be looking at yourself. Good, we'll bend that right knee again, let go of the foot, bring your hands to the inside of the right foot, step the right knee back to all fours, and then we can switch sides. So left foot to the outside of your left hand, swing the lower right leg back so it's parallel to the short edge of your mat. Sink the left shoulder low. So maybe we can bring the left shoulder into contact in the back of the left leg, and then your left hand to the outside of your left foot. Right hand reaches over top of the left foot to hold the outside of the left foot. Push down through your left hand. See if you can pick up that left leg. And even if you could just get the foot off the floor, that's a great first step. From there, maybe we're able to start lengthening out the left leg as we turn the heart open. And finding then space in the shoulder, space in the right side body, or looking for some sense of unfolding in whatever little knot you've ended up for in. Again, and then we'll bring the left foot back to the floor, uncrossing so that the hands are to the inside of the leg, stepping your left knee back so that we're back in all fours, and then once more settling into a nice little child's pose. And taking a moment here to find a sense of a centered, symmetrical shape in your body. And child's pose isn't always super comfortable for everybody, but maybe relative to the shape we just did, we can find some release in this more simple shape. And most importantly, notice the viewpoint you're taking now. Often we take a point of view which looks too much into the past. See if you can look specifically into your present right now. Whatever just happened, however well or not well it worked, we let it go. And we see if we can just be here in this shape now. And then we'll slowly come back towards seated on the heels. And take your hips off to one side, bringing the legs forward. And set the soles of the feet to the floor nice and wide. You can lean back into your hands. And just for a moment, you can gently rock the legs side to side. So kind of greasing the joints once more here. Just seeing if you can find a smooth range of motion across the whole hip socket. Good, and then coming back to center. And from here, we'll slowly ease down onto the back. And we'll set the soles of the feet to the floor, hip width apart. Feet relatively close in towards your sits bones. You bring your hands by your sides. And then pressing down through the feet, lifting the hips into a bridge pose, maybe interlacing the fingers under the back if that works for you. Kind of snuggle your shoulders in close, pressing down through the arms and the feet, seeing if you can lift your hips up nice and high, really stretching out through the fronts of your hip creases. And breathing into the chest, the belly, tops of the thighs, and just fleshing out that whole front line of your body, especially noticing spaces that we've been folding into or creasing. Give them a little fresh flush of oxygen. And then separating the hands and slowly melting the hips back down towards the floor. For a moment, you can set the feet out a little wider, let the knees fall in towards each other, maybe hand to your belly, hand to the chest, or however you like to place your hands as a way of using the hands to enhance your sensory experience of your breath. Good, and then we'll bring the arms out about shoulder height. You can separate the knees. Set your hips a little bit over to the right, and then allow the knees to settle to the left. So just coming into a comfortable twist. And you can choose the intensity of the spinal twist by either stacking your knees or staggering the knees, or you could even thread your right thigh over your left if you want more intensity. Allowing the hips to peel away from the floor, allowing the upper back to settle towards the floor. A little bit of a sense of wringing out your center body. You're noticing the warmth, the light that you've created at your center, and seeing how that can now get flushed out towards the extremities of your body, spread to the arms, the legs, hands, feet, face. And then we'll inhale to bring the knees back up towards center, taking your hips over to the left, and then settling the knees to the right, and again, choosing the intensity by either staggering the knees, that's the least spinal twist, or stacking the knees for more twist, or threading your left thigh over your right for even more twist. And then letting the left shoulder settle towards the floor. You feel how the hips and the ribs turn away from each other, this gentle squeeze on the center body, wringing out the core. Again, maybe we can kind of feel that as like a wringing out of the juice of the practice, the warmth of the practice, so that it can trickle into the arms and the legs and the head. And then we'll bring the knees back towards center. And hug your knees into your chest, wrapping your hands, your arms around your shins. Maybe you're rocking a little bit side to side, massaging the back against the floor. And then settling into Shavasana, so you can let your arms, your legs settle out in a way that's comfortable for you. Maybe the knees are bent, or maybe propping up your knees with bolster or a rolled up blanket. And let yourself take up a good amount of space here, so arms nice and wide from your body, the thumbs rolling out, so the inner arms can soften. And really letting go here of any effort to create structure in the body, so we can especially soften the midline, soften the belly, let yourself physically spill outwards. And be soft in your chest so that the breath can return to its most natural, effortless rhythm. And maybe this is also an opportunity to let the mind spill outwards, so we can release any boundaries or obstructions in the mind, which might impinge on our ability to see from other different perspectives. Maybe we can even let go of the mind completely. Because the mind itself is always engaged in categorizing or separating, looking for ways to understand the world by simplifying. If we can let go of the mind, we can just be in connection with everything that is. And perhaps that will give us an opportunity to discover some new pathways when we picked the mind back up. I'm going to stay here for another quiet moment. And then inviting your attention back into your physical body, your breath into your physical body. You can start to find little movements in your fingers and your toes. And with an inhale, reach the arms up alongside the ears, good full stretch. And then exhaling to bend the knees, rolling onto one side. Finding your way slowly back up to a seat. Comfortable, cross-legged, or whatever seat that you like. For a moment here with your eyes closed, you can notice how you feel now. I had a teacher once who said that a yoga practice will always make you feel different. He's never heard of a yoga practice not making you feel different, which doesn't mean that it made you feel better, although that is often the case. But it's certain that somehow in the course of moving and breathing and paying attention, we initiate some kind of change, or we learn something, we notice something that we hadn't been noticing before. We find a way of looking at things that perhaps wasn't available to us before we started practicing. So just appreciate for a moment some of the other viewpoints that might have popped up, our ability to see all those different viewpoints, and then to pick the ones that help us the most in moving forward in our lives. Which doesn't mean ignoring that the other viewpoints exist. So always leaving space to be able to see the diversity, but choosing the path that works for you. And bringing your hands together at the center of your chest, you can thank yourself for your practice this morning. Namaste. Great. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you didn't get too lost along the way, but it's actually probably okay if you did. That's something to learn too. And I think yoga is always, it's such a personal journey, and we don't need to depend so much on having somebody lead us through it. So sometimes figuring it out on your own is a really good practice, and maybe this is a good opportunity to be on your own mat without anybody to tell you specifically by looking at your body what you need to do. You just have to find that out for yourself. Hope we'll see you soon.